Hey everybody, it's Tracking Pat here today with my faithful sidekick, Tony Casillas. And today we're going to discuss a few things that seem to come up in conversation a lot. So what do you got for me, Tone?
Well, when I'm in the field, I get these questions quite often with our events, but one of them happens to be is when we use a mill event and when we go into profile events. Kind of like, when is it better to use the mill? When is it better to just go ahead and program it under profile?
Okay, well, I can see that because we also get them same kind of questions on the videos when we do things, and that's one of the reasons why we thought it'd be good to put a segment like this together, And there's pros and cons to both, right?
Right.
And so I would say that there's a few factors that really determine what they are, and I'll give some examples, But basically, a milling event doesn't have to be attached to anything else. It could be attached to another milling event or an arc event. But it could also just be a line by itself, right? I just need to face off the end of the part.
Right.
Or cut across the top of it with a shell mill.
Mm-hmm.
A milling event is great for that, right? But a milling event is one line from point A to point B, period, right? So if I want to do something like take multiple cuts in the Z-axis, or I want to rough it out and leave a finish cut, that stuff can be done with milling events, but it's a lot more work. On the other side, if you use a profile automatically connects pieces together. It automatically asks you how many passes you want to have in the Z-axis. And it also asks you if you want to leave material for a finish cut. But there's cons to a profile too, because a profile makes you cut everything at the same Z-plane. You can't do anything like ramp up and down in the Z-axis.
Right.
Okay? If there are cases where people want to program and make things go a little faster, so maybe instead of doing a milling event and rapiding over and doing a milling event, they want to connect multiple milling events, but they want to make maybe the first one go at 10 inches a minute, and then they want to move it 100 inches a minute because it's really not cutting anything,
Yeah, exactly.
and then go at 10 again. I can't do that in a profile,
Right.
but I can do it if I connect milling events together. So those are the kind of things that should come to play, Do I want to change RPM between events? I can't do that in a profile. I can in a mill.
That's correct.
Right? So those are the things I think that you're mostly going to talk about. And so we're going to show some examples kind of on that.
That would be cool.
So let's do this. Let's go to the program mode, and I'm just going to swipe forward. I don't need to name anything here. But of course, what we're talking about is whether we should use a mill or we should use a profile. Right?
Right.
And so let's start out with a milling event, and let's just do something really simple. Let's start out just on the Z-axis point, right? So we're going to go from 0, 0 with a Z rapid of 0 and also a Z beginning of 0. And this is just going to be a 3-inch line, right? So we're going to go to 3 inches and keep the other two at 0. Okay, there's no Conrad at this point because I'm not connecting it to anything. And so I've got my default set to put this at tool left, but a lot of times you're going to cut with cutter compensation, so it makes sense that you would be left or right. Keep in mind, once I get to the point where I want to change the Z-axis, then we're always going to be on tool center using a ball nose end mill.
Right.
Okay, but for now, we're just going to leave that at left. Let's just put 1,000 RPM in here and say we're going to feed in at 20 and machine at 40 and use tool number 1. So it's just a line, right?
That's correct.
Now, that works out perfectly fine, but all I'm doing is maybe facing off the top of the part, trying to establish my Z0 for my piece part, right? And it works great for that. But what if I actually have to cut to a depth? Okay, so my first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to swipe backwards and say, hey, what if I was cutting at 1 inch deep, right? Then my Z begin would be -1, and my Z end would be -1, right?
Yep.
And the problem with that is it's going to do it all in one pass. So it's going to come down to 1 inch deep and then barrel through that part with the entire cutter. A lot of times it's just not the best way to do it, right? You're going to get a lot of chatter or buildup or something, depending on what you're cutting and how you're trying to go about it, right? So what else could I do with that if I really wanted to do that? Well, I'm going to give you some examples for that too. Let's say that we do want to go 1 inch deep, but we want to do it in 4 passes. So I'm going to say, hey, let's go -250. Right, on both of these. Okay, and now I've got one cut 250 deep. So if I swipe forward now, the easiest way to accomplish what I'm trying to do is say, let's do a sub-repeat of event 1 and only event 1. I'm not going to change the X, the Y, or the rapid, but I'm going to change the depth by -0.25 and I'm going to, whoops, missed the button there. My bad. And I'm going to do it 3 more times, right? Which is going to get me to 1 inch. I'm going to keep all the rest of this stuff the same. And although it looks the same here, if I actually swipe backwards and look at the XZ plane, you'll see that I now have 4 passes to get myself to -1 inch, right?
That's pretty cool.
Now, if I did that in a profile, it would all been in event number 1.
That's correct.
Because I would just say, it says, hey, how many number of Z passes? Hey, I want 4. Or what's my depth of cut? 250. And I want to end up at -1. So there's an advantage, but that's all working in one Z plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here, let's talk about something else. What if I needed to leave a finish cut here? It's cutting right to the number, isn't it?
That's correct.
So if I needed to cut a finish cut here, I would actually have to do something else. I would have to do something like this. I would have to say, okay, let's do another sub-repeat of event 1, right? I'm not going to change any of this, except now I'm going to go -750. That's going to get me to my full 1 inch depth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to do it just 1 time. And I'm going to use tool number 2. And the reason I'm going to use tool number 2 is for the first 4 passes, tool number 1, I'm going to lie to the tool size and say it's 520 thousandths. It's going to leave 10 thousandths left, right?
That's pretty cool.
Then on tool number 2, I'm going to tell it really is a 1/2 inch, and I'm not going to change tools. But the last pass is going to take the full depth of cut and remove that last 10 thousandths and give me a cleanup.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you were able to do that.
Now, that makes sense to do it that way, but now I've got 3 events in what I could have done in 1 had I just did it in a profile, right?
That's correct.
So there are other things like we talked about, changing RPMs and changing feed rates, that I can't do in a profile because only the first page allows me to give a Z depth, an RPM, a Z feed rate, an XYZ feed rate, right?
That's correct.
So that's why you got to think, hey, what's the best way for me to get around this? Okay, now I want to show you a couple other things that I think are important. So I'm just going to go back and delete all my extra stuff, and I'm back to my 1 line of information. People ask a lot of times, like, okay, if I want to connect this to something else, how do I do that? Especially if I'm cutting like in the Z plane. So let's take this first event that started at -250 and let's have it end at -1. So there's my angled line, right? So now I'm using tool center and I'm coming down that XYZ plane, right? In this case, just XZ plane. How do I connect that to the next event without the tool wanting to lift up and reposition? Okay? Well, it's actually a very simple thing. When you start your next milling event, simply start out with 4 incremental zeros. That tells it start exactly where I am. It's the reason why when I teach a lot of times I say the ink set key is a no change key.
Right.
I'm not changing anything about where it begins. What I want to do is I want to go to 5 inches here, right? And in this case, I don't want to change the Y or the Z either, okay? So I can actually go all the way through this, keeping it all the same. And now you see that I have 2 events that are connective. And that's something I can't do in a profile.
That's very correct.
Right? So sometimes you might have to do a little bit of extra programming by using just milling events, but you have more manipulation by being able to change those things you can't change in a profile. And I think those are the kind of things that people are looking for. When do I do one? When do I do the other? And this should give them a really good idea on how to do that.
That's great information, Pat.
Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Now, I think sometimes there might be other things to think about too when it comes to using one or more, okay? And as we do these segments, you know, we'll cover some other things that are just like this and how they work. But before we go any farther, I do want to show people what we're talking about as far as a profile goes. So I'm going to go back and delete this all, okay? So let's just do it the easy way. I know I can do this in the edit mode, but since it's only 2 pieces, let's just start from there. So if I go to profile, because it's not a circle or a rectangle, even a straight line is an irregular profile, right? So we're going to go to irregular profile, and on this first page, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start at 0, 0, right? My tool's still on the left. There's my depth of pass question. So now I can say 250, right? I can, by the way, change that to number of passes if I'd like to, but you get the same result, right?
Right.
Finish cut. There's another question it doesn't ask normally. So now I can say, hey, I can do this all with just one tool and add a finish cut for the last pass. RPM, I said we were running at 1,000, right? Finish RPM, we'll just keep that the same. right? Plunge in at 20, machine at 40, and maybe we do the finish cut at 30 to get a really nice finish on there. I also have the ability to use 2 different tools, so I can rough it with one, finish it with another, without having to do any of that lying to the tools and stuff, right? In this case, we'll just keep it both with the same tool because that'll work out fine.
Nice.
So there's the very beginning of what I want to do. And there's always a second event to a profile, which is actually telling it whether I'm cutting a straight line or a curved line, right? So in here, I just say, hey, I'm going to 3 inches, right? Y stays at 0, the OK light comes on, and it's all done.
We're ready to go.
So in those 2 events, I did everything that I was trying to do in the very first segment, didn't I?
Yeah.
So in this case, if I don't have to change the Z-axis, I don't have to change RPMs or feed rates, profile's the way to go. Keep in mind that also profile has AGE programming, which means if I don't have all the right information there, it's also going to help me with the math and figure out the things that are missing on my print. I can't do that with standard milling events. I either got to be good with the numbers on my print, good at math help, or just plain good at math, all right? So AGE is always a great benefit for that too. But that gives, I think, a really good example of how to use which events and why. Is there anything else you can think of besides that, really?
Not at the moment. You know, I did notice though, just going back to what you did at the beginning, and you were talking about putting in a finish RPM. You know, I saw that we could have bumped up the percentage on there. We could have created a finish pass with a higher RPM on there.
That is correct.
That is a very good a way of creating a nice finish pass with the different RPM. And where you mentioned that here, we would have to probably create another event just to get that done.
I think so too. And you know, even though they do give you that ability to change feeds and speeds by percentage of what you originally do, that's generally a lot harder than actually knowing what you want those numbers to be, right?
Yeah.
Now, we could have gone back to the very first segment, and instead of using sub-repeats, did copy repeats. It would have made each one of those milling events a new line, and then we could have plugged in any RPM or any feed rate or anything else that we wanted to, because the objective of that is to make new pieces that we can manipulate any way we want. So there are a few other ways around it too, but for the most part, we're going to start out saying, what am I trying to do? Is it something that it's going to require everything on the same plane? I'll take the shortcut and I'll use the profile.
That's correct.
And if I've got things that I need to change from one piece to the next, I'm going to use the milling event. And I hope that clears it up, not only for you, but for the people you talk to in the field, for the people that ask me questions online. And it should give people a much clearer idea on which and when to use and how to go about it.
Yeah, thank you, Pat.
Does it make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Thanks for the question, and thanks for you guys asking the question. And we're going to do some more segments like this as well, just so that you guys can get some more of this kind of stuff to put into your scheme of how you get about in the ProtoTRAK. Thanks for watching.